All right, let's kick off this deep dive. And today we're taking a closer look at John the Apostle.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's often called the disciple Jesus loved, but there's so much more to him.
Right.
We're going to be using a YouTube video by Brandon Robbins.
Okay.
And he really digs deep into some lesser-known facts about John, and I think you're going to be surprised by some of the things we uncover.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so first off, this one kind of blew my mind.
Okay.
John, the Apostle of Love, the guy who wrote all about love, turns out he had kind of a fiery temper early on.
Yeah, that's right.
Talk about a transformation.
Huge transformation.
Right.
It's true. We often think of these biblical figures as like one-dimensional.
Yeah,
you know? But John was a complex person. And the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they don't shy away from showing his like fiery personality.
Yeah.
In fact, Mark even calls him and his brother James the sons of thunder.
Wow, sons of thunder.
Right.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, and there's this one story in Luke that really shows this.
Okay.
Where some Samaritans, they weren't exactly welcoming to Jesus and the disciples.
Oh, right.
And John's reaction. Well,
what'd he do?
Let's just say he channeled some Old Testament wrath.
He got a little fiery.
A little bit, yeah. He wanted to call down fire from heaven on them.
Whoa.
Just like the prophet Elijah did.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty far from the apostle, who later wrote more about love than any other New Testament author.
It's such a contrast.
A huge contrast.
Like, what happened? What led to that kind of change?
Right. It makes you wonder about his journey, you know?
Yeah.
But I think John's journey, going from son of thunder to apostle of love, it offers a really powerful message, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, we all have those moments where we feel anger, frustration.
Yeah.
You know, it shows us that transformation is possible.
Yeah.
Really profound transformation.
Yeah. That's encouraging.
It is. It's hopeful.
For sure. So, speaking of John's unique perspective, his gospel really stands out.
It does.
It feels different from Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Totally.
Almost like a different genre.
You're right. You're picking up on a key difference.
Okay.
You see, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they use that traditional Hebrew storytelling style. Lots of parables, examples, you know, vivid stories. But John, he takes a more philosophical approach.
Interesting.
Almost Greek, you could say.
Okay.
He really digs into the deeper meaning behind Jesus's words and actions.
I see. It's more conceptual.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they seem comfortable with the mystery around Jesus's identity.
Yeah.
They present these different viewpoints, different possibilities.
Yeah.
But John's
different.
Right from the beginning, he comes out strong, declaring Jesus's divinity.
Right.
Those famous opening lines.
I love it.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
That's the one.
It's powerful.
It is. And, you know, John, with his Greek philosophical background, he was really drawn to the concept of the logos.
Oh, logos. Okay.
Yeah. It signifies reason, knowledge.
Okay.
And for some philosophers, even the dying mind.
I see.
And John takes this concept and makes a bold claim, he says. The logos, the divine word, became flesh in Jesus.
So not just reflecting God's qualities.
Right.
But actually being God.
Jesus is God himself.
Wow. That's a big statement.
It is a powerful statement.
Yeah.
And it shows us how deeply John understood Greek thought.
Okay.
And how he used that to present this unique portrait of Jesus.
It adds a whole other layer to his perspective.
It does. It really does.
Makes you wonder how his background shaped everything.
It does make you wonder, yeah.
Yeah.
How did all of that influence his interpretation of Jesus's message?
That's a great question. Yeah.
And it leads us to another interesting point about John.
All right.
You know, we often picture the disciples as poor fishermen, just scraping by.
Yeah, that's the common image.
Right. But there's evidence suggesting that John's family might have actually been quite well off.
You know, it's fascinating how we make assumptions based on very little information.
Yeah.
Just because Jesus was from humble beginnings doesn't mean all his followers were.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So John, for instance, had access to the high priest.
He did. He even influenced his servants.
That's not your average fisherman.
No, definitely not something anyone could just pull off.
Right.
And John's father, Zebedee, he employed hired men.
Okay.
Which suggests a pretty substantial fishing operation.
Yeah.
Maybe even a fleet of boats.
Wow.
So definitely challenges that image of John as this,
poor, simple,
impoverished disciple.
Right.
And speaking of family,
yes,
there's a theory that John's mother was a woman named Salome.
Salome.
Yeah. And she appears at some key moments in the Gospels.
Right.
Crucifixion, resurrection.
Yeah.
Some even think she might have been one of the women who financially supported Jesus's ministry.
Interesting.
It's pretty intriguing, right?
It is.
If she was John's mother,
yeah,
it really changes how we see his background.
It does, and the resources he might have had access to.
Yeah, and the role of wealthy women in the early Christian movement.
Exactly.
It's fascinating.
It is. It's like a puzzle with some missing pieces.
Yeah.
We may never have all the answers,
right?
But even the speculation is interesting.
It is. It gets you thinking.
It does. It forces us to look beyond the surface, grapple with the complexity of these historical figures.
Yeah, and their relationships.
Their relationships, exactly.
Okay, get ready for this next one.
Okay.
This is a real head-scratcher. Some scholars believe that John might have been Jesus's cousin. What? Yes! I know, right?
That's wild.
Sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But there are some clues in the Gospels.
Okay, I'm listening.
Remember when John mentions his mother's sister?
At the cross.
Yeah, standing near the cross.
Right.
And Mark mentions Mary, the mother of James the Younger, among the women there.
Right.
So what if those two Marys are the same person?
Okay, I see where you're going.
Then Salome, Mary's sister, would be Jesus's aunt.
Right.
And John would be his cousin.
Whoa. That's
a bit of a stretch.
It is speculative, but it would explain a lot. It would
explain John's closeness to Jesus, why he adopted Mary after the crucifixion.
Yeah.
And even Mary being at that wedding.
Right, with Jesus and the disciples.
Yeah, maybe it was a family affair.
That's amazing how these little details can potentially change our whole understanding.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It really is. And that's the beauty of these deep dives, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We're not just, reciting facts.
Yeah.
We're exploring possibilities, digging deeper.
Challenging assumptions.
Exactly.
I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, one more fascinating detail about John.
Okay.
We got to unpack this.
Right.
His use of the Greek phrase ego eimi.
Ego eimi.
Yeah, it means I am.
I am, right?
And it carries a lot of theological weight.
It does, you're right.
John uses it over and over in his gospel.
Yeah.
And he's clearly making a connection back to God's self-identification to Moses in Exodus.
Oh, right, the burning bush.
Exactly.
I am, W-H-O-I-am.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
Powerful stuff.
And for John to use the same phrase for Jesus, it's a big statement.
It is. He's drawing a direct link between Jesus and the God of the Old Testament.
Right.
Which fits perfectly with his whole message in the gospel.
It's interesting, though.
Because some people argue that Jesus never explicitly claimed to be God.
Yeah, that's true.
But John, as a first-hand witness, clearly believed that Jesus was God incarnate.
He did. And that conviction, that unwavering faith, it permeates everything John wrote.
Yeah.
He witnessed Jesus's power and love firsthand. And that experience shaped his whole understanding.
It's amazing.
It is. It really is.
To think about John's journey from the Son of Thunder to the apostle who emphasizes love above all else.
That's quite a transformation.
What was it about his encounter with Jesus that sparked that change?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
And one we'll keep exploring as we dig deeper into John's writings and his legacy.
Let's take a break here.
Right.
And when we get back, we'll dive into what John's story means for us today.
It's all good.
As we're talking about John's transformation and, this unwavering faith he had, it's important to remember, the world he was living in.
Oh, absolutely. The cultural context.
Yeah. What was it like back then?
Well, community and shared faith played a huge role.
Okay.
It wasn't just about personal conviction.
Yeah.
It was about belonging.
Belonging to a community.
To something larger than yourself.
So trusting in the beliefs of your family, your community.
Exactly. It was paramount.
And that makes John's unwavering belief in Jesus even more interesting.
Yeah.
Especially considering those theories about his family.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, if he was from a wealthy family or even related to Jesus, wouldn't he have more reason to be skeptical?
Potentially, yeah.
Even Jesus's own brothers doubted him at first.
They did in the beginning.
But John stayed strong in his faith.
He did. His belief seems rooted in something deep.
Yeah, like he really experienced something.
Right. It wasn't just blind faith.
Yeah.
He had an encounter that convinced him.
Powerful.
Powerful, yeah.
And that's what makes John's testimony so compelling.
It resonates, even today.
Yeah, it wasn't just about accepting what he was told. It was about experiencing something transformative.
Absolutely. And that's what speaks to us.
So how does John's experience, his unwavering belief, speak to us today?
Well, it reminds us that faith isn't about having all the answers or never having doubts.
Yeah.
It's about wrestling with those doubts.
Okay.
Staying open.
To new experiences?
To new experiences, allowing ourselves to be transformed.
Yeah, by something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. It's a process.
It's a journey.
Not a destination.
And John's story shows us that even those closest to Jesus, the ones who saw the miracles firsthand, they still struggled with their faith.
They did. It humanizes them, right?
It does.
Makes their journeys relatable.
Yeah, and it's encouraging to know that we're not alone.
We're not alone in our struggles.
And John's story, with all its twists and turns, reminds us that faith isn't always a straight path.
No, it's not.
There will be doubts.
Doubts, questions.
Yeah, but in those moments, our faith can actually deepen.
It can.
If we allow ourselves to be challenged.
To be challenged, to be transformed.
John went from wanting to call down fire on people to becoming the apostle of love.
Quite a transformation.
Yeah.
It really is a testament to love's power to change us.
Yeah, to soften our hearts.
To open us up to new ways of seeing the world.
But how did he get there?
Right.
What led to that shift?
I think it goes back to that encounter with Jesus. That personal encounter.
Yeah.
He experienced something so profound.
Yeah.
So life-changing.
Yeah.
It shifted his whole worldview.
Wow.
From judgment, punishment, compassion, forgiveness.
It wasn't just changing his mind.
No, it was deep.
It was transforming his heart.
Exactly.
And that's available to all of us.
It is. It's about being open.
To love.
To love's power, to heal.
To change us from the inside out.
From the inside out, yeah.
So it's not just about believing in Jesus. It's about being transformed by his love, by his message.
You got it. John's story is powerful.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that true faith, it's not passive.
It's active.
It's active, embracing love.
Practicing forgiveness.
Seeking to become more like Jesus called us to be.
Wow. So John's story isn't just about ancient history.
No.
It's about an ongoing journey.
Yes.
The faith.
The faith of transformation.
That we're all on.
We are. We're all on that journey together.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, I want to go back to something you said about John's use of the phrase ego-eimi.
Ego-eimi.
Or I am.
I am, yes.
Why was that so important to him?
Well, remember, John's gospel, he's presenting Jesus as the divine logos, the word made flesh. And by using I am, John connects Jesus directly to God's self-revelation
to Moses
in the Old Testament.
Right, the burning bush. The burning bush, exactly.
Powerful imagery.
Powerful.
And by using that same phrase, John is saying, Jesus isn't just a prophet or a teacher.
He's more.
He's God himself.
He is the ultimate source of life and truth.
It makes you wonder.
It does.
What it must have been like for John to come to that realization.
To fully grasp who Jesus was.
I know. To witness the miracles.
The miracles, hear the teachings.
Experience the love firsthand.
I know. No wonder he felt compelled to share that with the world.
Even if it meant facing persecution.
Persecution, hardship.
Yeah, his faith was so strong.
It was.
He was willing to risk everything.
He was, and that's the kind of faith that inspires.
Yeah, even today.
Even today.
It's about holding on to that belief, that hope.
Yes.
Even when things are tough.
Even when things are tough, yeah.
So what can we take away from John's example? Especially when we face challenges.
He reminds us that even in the darkest times,
when everything seems lost, there's always hope.
There's always hope.
He faced exile, persecution.
And yet,
his faith didn't waver.
It's incredible.
His writings, they continue to inspire, to encourage countless others.
To find strength.
Strength, hope.
In the face of adversity.
Yeah, powerful reminder.
That even when we feel alone, when we're struggling, we're part of something bigger.
We are. We're part of a community of faith.
That goes back centuries.
Centuries, facing countless challenges.
Yeah.
Always finding a way to persevere.
And John's story is a testament to that.
That strength, that resilience.
And now, as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I'm curious to explore how John's legacy continues to shape our understanding of faith and spirituality today. You know, it's amazing to think about the impact John has had.
I know, right?
Even centuries after his life.
Yeah, it's like...
His story isn't just some ancient history lesson.
Right.
It feels so relevant to us today.
That's what I love about these deep dives. You know, we're not just looking at the past. We're finding truths that are timeless.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
John's journey from doubt to faith.
Yeah.
From anger to love. Those are things we all deal with.
Yeah, in our own ways.
Exactly.
It's like we're looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
But the mirror is showing us a story from 2,000 years ago.
I like that, yeah.
It's so powerful.
It is.
To see ourselves in John's struggles, in his transformation.
And it reminds us that faith, it's not this static thing.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah.
With ups and downs.
It's comforting to know that even John, the closest disciple to Jesus, he had moments of uncertainty.
It makes him more human.
Right. It does.
Makes his faith journey more relatable.
Relatable. And the fact that he became so strong in his belief, willing to face persecution, exile, it's amazing.
It makes you wonder what it was about Jesus that sparked such devotion.
Right. Not just in John,
Yeah.
but in all the disciples.
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. What was it about his message, his presence, that had such an impact?
I know it's a mystery.
The mystery, yeah.
But it continues to inspire people.
Across the world, across time.
It's like this ripple effect, starting with the disciples and just spreading outward.
Spreading outward.
Even to us today.
I love that image.
And John, through his writing, he played a big part in that.
He did. He took what he experienced, what he learned. Poured it into his gospel, his letters.
Even Revelation.
Even Revelation. That's a whole other side of John, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of Revelation, we haven't really touched on that.
That's true.
It's so different from his gospel.
It is. Full of imagery.
Yeah, those apocalyptic visions.
It's a testament to how far he came on his spiritual journey.
From those early days as the Son of Thunder to his exile on Patmos.
Where he wrote Revelation.
He experienced so much.
He did. The full spectrum of human emotions.
Yeah.
Spiritual insights.
It's interesting, though, how his focus on love stayed constant.
That's the common thread, right?
Through all the change.
Yeah, from his love for Jesus.
To the love he wrote about.
He understood that love was the key to true spiritual fulfillment.
Wow.
He saw it as the driving force behind everything.
Yeah.
The ultimate expression of God.
And that message, it still resonates today.
It does. It transcends religion.
Yeah.
Speaks to what it means to be human.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the life and legacy of John, what are some key takeaways?
All right. Well, I think a big one is that faith is a journey.
Not a destination.
Exactly. John's story shows us that it's okay to have doubts.
To question things.
To wrestle with difficult ideas.
Yeah, that's how our faith can grow.
It can. It's about staying curious, open to new experiences.
New perspectives.
Yeah. And another takeaway is the power of love.
Oh, absolutely.
John went from hothead to apostle of love.
That's huge.
It's huge, and it shows us what's possible.
It reminds us we can change.
We can change, grow, become more loving.
More compassionate.
Yeah. And finally, John's story reminds us that even when things are tough, there's always hope.
Always hope.
His faith in the face of persecution.
Yeah, exactly.
It shows us how resilient the human spirit can be.
That's a powerful message.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And it's one that continues to inspire today.
Yeah, it shows that we're never really alone.
We're not. We're part of this community of faith.
That goes way back.
Centuries.
Facing all kinds of challenges.
But always persevering.
And John's writings, his message of love and hope.
Yeah.
They continue to offer guidance.
Inspiration for generations to come.
This deep dive has been so inspiring.
It has.
John's life was a true testament to the power of faith.
To faith, love, resilience.
If you want to learn more,
Yeah.
I encourage you to check out John's Gospel.
His letters, Revelation.
There's so much to discover there.
And as you explore those writings,
Yeah.
remember to keep an open mind.
A curious heart.
Let his words challenge you, inspire you.
Guide you on your own journey.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep seeking those moments that make life so meaningful.
Absolutely.